Alright, let's go ahead and get started with the next one. This one's going to be the snow. For the snow, we'll do three different types. We'll look at a snow that's just a light, soft one. We'll go for a dense, and then we'll go for more of a storm feel to the snow. Be sure you have your scene grid open. Should look something like this. We'll go ahead and go to our snow folder inside of our particles folder. Inside the snow, we have a snow image, which is just looking like a little circle right here. Now you could do a snowflake and place a snowflake image instead. The material that we're going to use is, we're going to use the additive, but you could actually use the particle alpha blended as well. Either one would work. I'm doing an additive just so it feels like there's a little bit of a glisten to the snowflakes when they cross over each other. Alright, so those in place, let's go to our hierarchy and create. Go down to the particle system and click on particle system and place one in. We'll zero out the X and the Z, and for the Y, since it's going to be snow, we want it coming from above, so let's go ahead and put this around. We'll go for around 8 on the height of it. And depending on how tall your character is or how big the scene is, you may go higher up. We're going to start here and then we'll just go from there. Let's go ahead and rename this while we're here. We'll just call this one Snow, and the name for it we'll do Snow Light. Alright, so the first thing we want to do is replace our texture. We have our snow material that we'll drag and drop inside of the material in our render rollout. So now we have our circles going up, and snow goes down instead of up, unless it's being blown up. So we'll go ahead and start working through our properties and get things adjusted so they work right. If we go up to the top, inside of our snow light, the basic settings right here, the first thing that we want to do is change our duration. Now remember, duration is just going to be, if looping, it's how long does the one cycle last per loop. We'll go ahead and say that it's going to last for 1 second, and then adjust from there if we need to. There's a start delay. We could actually start it a little bit longer. We could say that we could say it takes about a point. Let's see. We'll do a point quarter and a half. We'll actually do like a 0.1 second delay. So just 1/10 of a second before it starts to fall. Doesn't really have to happen, it's just a matter of how it works in your scene, whether you need it or not. Alright, so let's go to our start lifetime. Lifetime's at 5 right now. This is going to be how long does the particle itself last from the time it gets created all the way until it gets destroyed, and it's currently at 5 seconds. We'll go for 4 seconds. We might drop it down even lower here in a little bit. The start speed, we'll just start it at 0. We don't actually want it to actually move at a speed. We're going to let some force and velocity affect the movement of it. That way it stays really soft and like a snowflake would look. Alright, so we'll go ahead and start the start size. Our start size on this one, if you go over to your random between two constants, let's go ahead and make this a little bit smaller here. So we're going to say we'll go for like a 0.05, 0.02, somewhere around there. And we'll go up to around a 0.07. Yeah, so nice and small. In comparison to your scene, you just want to adjust it until you find it's the size relative to the other objects in there. So you may have to go up or down once you place it into another scene to see it. For the rotation, if we had a texture on here that was actually not just a circle, you'd probably want to use the rotation. So we'll go ahead and we'll have it set up so that if you do, then it'll work with it. The one that we want to use, we'll just do the random between two constants. And 0 to 360, again, this just allows it to make sure that the object itself will be spawned at anywhere between the whole rotation of the circle. Alright, for our start color, let's go ahead and take our gradient. For our alpha, let's take that down. We're going to take it about halfway. So we'll do 128. There we go. So we got a 120 on the alpha, so it's going to be slightly see-through. We don't want it just to be a hard dot that we see on it. Alright, so you could do a gravity multiplier, and we could actually take it and have it going down this way, but we're actually going to do it a little bit different this time. So instead of being a gravity onto it, we'll look at it doing a little different. So the simulation space, let's go ahead and do world. Alright, and then down below, we'll go ahead and set up a couple of these elements here. Our emissions, currently we're setting at 10, and again remember, whenever you're doing things to start with, you can always do them at a low number, especially depending on your computer and how much you can push. You could do a high number if you need to, or once you start refining it, then you have a little bit more room to play with. But sometimes I find that if I start low, get the right feeling, then it's easier to add more to it and refine after that point. Alright, so we'll start with 10. We'll see how this works for a while. The shape that we have, though, let's do, instead of this, it's almost like we want to cover this whole square in snow. So instead of doing the shape as a cone this time, let's actually do a box. And then on the box size, let's take this and I think, let's double check, we'll see. We'll go for about, I think it's around 20 by 20. And if we go somewhere around there, we should be pretty good for it. Actually, which one's the height? Oh, okay. So if we do the do it that way. Oops. Let's see how we look on this one. Yeah. So we could have it set up close to this, but we could also do, and something I might do a little bit different. I'm going to create the plane so that it actually is just a single one. So we'll do it where the box is X, Y, and Z is going to be just the 2020 and 0. And then we don't have to really worry about the box being inside the scene. We'll just have it as this top piece right here. Alright. And then once you have that one, then we can start working over two elements. We have the velocity over lifetime, and we have the force over lifetime. Velocity is going to be the speed of the snowflake coming down, moving around, and then the force is going to be external forces pushing the particle around. So for the velocity over lifetime, I'm going to make this the 2 constant, so it's going to allow it to be some pieces move fast, some pieces move slow. Alright, so we'll start off with this one. We'll just do and actually to start off with, let's do a little bit higher values, that way we can actually kind of see it, and then we'll adjust from there. So if you notice, the x-plane right now is moving, and we'll do this across the board. It'll be a negative. So for instance, we'll do negative here, and we'll do about a -2 on this one. And then on the up and down, let's do a -2, and then we'll do, don't want too much force on this, so we'll go ahead and kind of set this down a little bit. Alright, so notice all I've done is set some pretty high values here, but we already have the snowflakes kind of just falling very randomly. Every one of them are going at a different speed, kind of different directions, which is good. That's kind of what we're going for right there. Alright, now if we wanted even less momentum, we could even take this, for instance, down to, and we'll do a fraction here of it and see how those look. So we'll do about a, let's see, we'll do a point, oh, there we go. We'll do a point value and see how it looks.